was there from January 1960 for 2 years, so it is my sophomore.
I'm here. Thank you for inviting me to speak in your school. It is a great honor. I would like to tell you my story about my servicing in the Israeli army. I was the only child. I wasn't obligated to join the IDF, but when I turned 18-year-old, I decided I would join the defense forces of my beloved country, Israel. The first month of basic training in Tironut, as it is known in Hebrew, was in an army base called Srifin, which is near Tel Aviv. In our army barracks, there were about 40 to 50 female soldiers with me, and there were 3 groups of girls in our months of intake. There were strict rules and regulations, such as how we should lay out our bed, with the bedding folded in the correct way. During that month, we will sometimes be woken up by our surgeon. I remember her name. Her name was Batsheva. And she will tell us to quickly get dressed in our uniform and be ready to walk or even run around the ground of the army base. During the day, we were told to march up and down the parade ground and carry out the drill in columns of 4 or 5. As Sergeant Batsheva shouted out our marching orders, right?
Yeah, I just told them about it and they asked questions about it.
You remember that? Sorry, I'm a bit nervous, okay? And my English is not so good, so sorry. We were only allowed to go home a couple of times that month to see our parents and friends. We were allocated in trained with various weapons and guns. The main one we used was the Uzi machine gun, which was very scary and exciting. We fired a target to improve our aim and for hitting the bullseye or the target. Sorry.
It's all right, you're doing well.
We had to salute our officers and the Israeli flag, the degel, when it was raised and lowered. In the morning, we would be woken up by trumpet sound and had to rush to get dressed and go out on parade. We had a very large dining mess hall where we all had breakfast, lunch, dinner together. We ate every meal out of mess tin. Our uniform was khaki green, as you can see from the photo, which I will pass around for you all to have a look at, and had to be the correct dress for the hot condition in Israel. We wear a special hat called a kova tembel or a beret when we were on normal duty or marching together in our uniforms. We were all army comrades together, and a few of us went on driving courses, learning on jeep and tenders, but I wasn't keen on this course and I stopped. During my time, we went on a truck in the countryside and sleep in an army tent, and there were 4 girls to a tent. It was a very cold at night, but we had a good fun. After a month of basic training, we were sent to a special army unit in Ramat Gan and was a secretary in the army offices of Tank Corps for about 2 years. I received a rank during that time of corporal, which was 2V strip on my arms. There were quite a few other uniform IDF soldiers in the offices where I was. We went to Eilat a couple of times for long weekends break, where we had a great time relaxing and having fun. When I finished my army service, my friend arranged a going away party. It was a special way to end my army career. To sum up, I had a great time in the IDF and will never forget the friend that I met and all the experience that I had. I was very proud to serve in the IDF and I do my duty for the country of Israel. God bless Israel and the Israeli Defense Forces.
אמרתי יפה מאוד.
Now you're allowed to ask some questions?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to ask any questions?
And in the Defense Ministry, and I was there.
Joshua.
What job did you have?
I was typist,
She's done an office job.
office job.
What is that?
Office.
Office job. She's
Not in the office.
filing this, that, it depends. Anya, have you got a question? Go on.
What type of food did you get? Was it like
I can't hear you, Anya.
What type of food? What photography?
Not that type that I like, but maybe your Safta did. Did you like the food in the army?
If I would like it, I would remember it.
Okay, I didn't like it at all because I'm very fussy.
So the board behind you is an interactive board, so
Yes.
deleting things like Okay.
Food in the army, normally it came in a huge containers and it just looked just too big, too...
And I can tell you,
And you saw the picture there with masking.
Anya's dad
We didn't have
didn't
plate. We used to have a masking. You put in the picture there. Okay, the picture of it's something like that. Silver.
Yes.
Used to eat from it. Masking.
I was in the, I was in the, about 4 weeks ago, teaching instructors in the army, one of my jobs still. And I was at the Sun Khanim base, which is the boot camp for the paratroop regiment next to the West Bank. And to this day, from my mum's time, the food is still awful. And it's the one thing the soldiers complain about. But the best time for the food is before January, December. Why? Because the budget is finished. So any budget they have left, they buy more food. And the worst time to eat food in the army is in January. Because they've got to keep some food in reserve in case there's a war. So the soldiers have the worst food in January. So always make sure you eat in December in the army, not in January.
So I used to go to the shekel to buy bisley. That was my lunch basically. And bamba for dinner. And yes,
Didn't know what Bamba is
that's it.
then.
No, I think Sammy, what your question is? Okay, think about it, Hannah.
how big was the portion?
When
Did you like have, by the time you were in line, was there like a war that ever happened?
No, no.
No.
It was before the 6-Day War. It was one before in 58. And I went to 60.
During
January
that
60.
time.
But during that time, no. It was well away before 6-Day War and Sinai War. And, no, it was quite... Yeah.
Jake.
What was the scariest time of being in the army for you?
When we had to learn how to shoot. And when we had at night, at midnight.
So what you need to do, you've got, as I said to you before, you've got duties in the evening, in the night time. So in the night time, one of the duties is to hold your gun, Nathan, I'm talking, to hold your gun and to security. And when you're holding a gun, bear it in mind, in the middle of the night, it's pitch black and the silence is actually really scary. And if you hear something, it could be one of your friends just going to the toilet or having a drink, but it could be that it's actually somebody that wants to be there to harm you. So it's quite serious. So that's what she's saying.
And you know what seriously means? As a child, till now, I'm frightened of that.
Okay. She don't like the dark, so even more scary. Hannah.
Has anything, did anyone want to tell you off in the army?
מישהו אמר לך, how do you say tell off? כעסו עלייך, עשית משהו לא בסדר בצבא?
Only once, yes. In the beginning of the Tironut, I didn't know that שמרים את הדגל צריכים להצדיע, ולא הצדעתי.
Okay, so when, yes, in the Tironut, in the month of the training, the first month of the army, they raise the flag, and when you raise the flag, you have to stand up
Salute.
and salute. And she didn't do it. and she's been told.
What happened?
What happened? What's the punishment?
No punishment.
No
Run
punishment.
around the perimeter.
Yeah, that's good. They won't punish me. Okay. Olianso.
I've got 2 minutes.
Can we just leave the table, the pictures on the table for a minute? Alia? Tables?
Was there a navy?
Was there a navy?
Yeah.
No. No.
It was, but I wasn't in Navy. I was in Tel Shirion when I was in
And
the army. Tel Shirion.
was it possible to get court-martial?
In my US.
I don't know.
In the army,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
of course.
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
of course. But I didn't. I was okay.
Nathan?
Did you ever have to like shoot anyone?
No.
No,
Yeah.
just in
We
training.
had training.
She only shot targets.
Yes, just training. Sammy?
How many wars were you in?
Wars? No, there was no wars, she said.
When I was in the army, that 2 years, there were no war. From 60 till 62, no. It was in 58 war, and then 67, which I was already here. But
There was
no.
still war attrition. So the borders were still dangerous and people were still trying to harm us there. But there was no wars. It was what we call a war of attrition. So the countries next to us weren't friendly to us. So we always had to keep our guard up. We always had to make sure they knew we were strong. And that's what my mum was involved with.
Jacob?
What was your best memory in the army?
Mazikaron question.
Good question. When I was in the Shalishut, so all the soldiers, because explained to them, Shalishut, it's an office in Ramat Gan, Tel Aviv, and every office was different unit. And one day they have all the unit come and they march, different unit, which was very, very nice.
Leo?
What were some of the punishments?
What punishment?
As I said, you've got duties. In the middle of the night, I needed to do a kitchen duty. So you needed
But
to...
in the actual army,
Yeah.
if you did something wrong, you couldn't go home. Rituk.
That's a good one.
That's very, very
If
rituk.
you're supposed to go for a weekend home, you're staying in the army.
Because
That's a
I
good
was in the
punishment.
office in Ramat Gan, which used to go from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But they had their bed and room special, and if somebody did something wrong, he
You're not
couldn't
going
go
out.
home. He had to stay there, not to go home. They're getting rituk.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mum, tell them also that your pool where you worked, who were you secretary for? Your pool was secretary for?
That was after the army. That was in Misrad HaBitachon. After that, when I finished, I went to the defense ministry.
Yeah.
It used to be Ben Gurion
She
there,
was with Ben
Shimon
Gurion.
Peres. Yeah.
Ben
But
Gurion, that's your name of your class.
Yes.
Yes.
That was after when I finished the army.